What up, dudes? I just filmed like 10 minutes of me talking and my battery died. It was at 60% and it just didn't film anything. Very strange. Today's video is about Mormonism. I've deliberately tried to avoid this topic because it's quite complicated. It's quite a complicated topic and it's very touchy because... Right, we'll start from the beginning. So I was born into Mormonism. Mormonism is also... The long term for Mormonism is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or LDS for short. So if I say LDS, that's what it means, Mormonism. So Mormonism is a branch off from Christianity. They believe in a lot of the same things as Christianity. I don't know too much about other religions, so I can't compare or tell you what's different between the two. I can just tell you from my perspective what I witnessed. I have a very complicated relationship with Mormonism. So my grandparents were converted by missionaries. Missionaries are usually young men or women. They go in pairs of two and they knock on doors and try to convert you to the religion. My grandparents accepted it. They became members, and then my mother and her siblings became members. My father was also seeking out religion. He was trying out all different kinds of religions, just kind of seeing what worked best for him, and he eventually found Mormonism and stuck with it. So my mother and my dad, they met at a Mormon kind of thing. Yeah, they got married. The goal with Mormonism is to get married in the temple. That's kind of the end goal for all members, is when you get married in the temple, you're married for eternity. So this life and the next. And we'll kind of get into more of that later. I was born into it. And then at age 8, I was baptized, which means I was dipped underwater, and that was me kind of consenting to joining the church. It's different to Catholicism, where they kind of sprinkle water on babies. I don't agree with that because the baby can't consent to joining. So Mormons wait until age 8 to do it because they can consent. Alright, so moving forward, each chapel has individual roles for most of the members, so everyone kind of has to contribute. So when I turned 12, I think that was when I got my first calling, which is where I have to do something. And I believe that was walking around with a tray that has bread and water on it, sacrament. In other religions you drink wine, holy wine or something like that. But yeah, we have bread and water, so the body of Christ, the blood of Christ. So that's what it represents. And it was my job to go around and give it to everyone. And then later on, I was then assigned to be the guy that blessed it. I would read a prayer in English and Welsh and kind of bless the sacrament. Right, so growing up as a teen, we'll start from the beginning. Growing up as a teenager, when I was in high school, I would wake up at 5 or 6 a.m. and do seminary, which is kind of an hour of learning about the church before school. So before I even have breakfast, I have to go, and we did it online. We did like a Skype version. Other people have to actually go to church and do it there, but I live too far away, so we did it online. Every day before school, I would do an hour of Sunday school, and then I would go to school. So I was pretty much always tired for the whole of high school. When I got closer to the age of 18 is when young male, primarily, females can do it too, but mostly males are kind of pushed in the direction of becoming a missionary. So when I reached age 18, I was conditioned my whole life to believe that that was my goal. I would go and serve a mission, which is where you go to a random part of the world, you don't get to decide where, and you spend 2 years knocking on people's doors and teaching them about the church. And I thought that was my goal. My brother did it. A lot of my family members have done it. Most of my family are still active LDS. Yeah, getting to age 18, the bishop, the head of my chapel, was kind of getting me ready. Like I got given the mission papers, and I was about to sign them, and I had a feeling that my life was meant to go in a different direction. I was meant to do something else. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I just thought that spending 2 of my youngest, best years of my life going and doing this for a church, I didn't believe that was the right thing for me. And at the time it was very complicated. I just didn't know what I wanted. I obviously didn't sign the papers and I just stopped attending. Let me try and recite some of the beliefs that Mormons hold. They don't smoke, don't drink tea or coffee, just don't swear. They don't spend money on Sundays. Oh yeah, one of the commandments, there's like 12 commandments I think, or 10 commandments, that you have to kind of, just rules to live by. I don't remember all of them, but one of them is kind of just like don't steal, don't kill, follow the laws of the land. So whichever country you're in, you're supposed to follow the laws. And I live by those rules. Oh yeah, and also no sex before marriage. So I live by most of those rules, and for my whole life since, I've kind of stuck by those rules. I didn't do any drugs until the age of 18. That's when I started drinking caffeine, and I tried alcohol for the first time. Now those were just the 2 most readily available drugs. I can now legally go into a store and buy those things. So that's what I did. I tried them out. And that was kind of all that I was exposed to at the time, because my My family had kept me far away from all these things. Mormons are made to feel like they have to follow these rules at all times. Like, when you don't follow these rules, you're made to feel like you're a bad person. Religion, all religions from what I've seen, is they love to make you feel like if you do anything wrong, you're going to hell. I never really felt like LDS members were making me feel that way, but like deep down, I've been conditioned to feel that way. Does that make sense? Like, no one's specifically saying if you do drugs, you're going to hell. Like, no one ever said that to me. That's how I was brought up feeling. That's why I avoided it for so long. I waited until I was age 18, and after deciding I didn't want to serve a mission, I was like, okay, so now what do I do? I left school at that point. I was free to kind of make up my own mind. So I decided to try the things that I'd been told to stay away from. Usually, when kids are told not to do something, they're gonna do it. It must be so hard to be a parent. From 18, 19, 20, I was drinking, doing caffeine. Those are the only drugs I tried. In 2014, I quit alcohol. I decided that it just wasn't for me. It was making me very sick. I was blacking out. I have an addictive personality, so I wouldn't drink socially, I would just drink to black out. I would drink to the point of excess, every time. I made a lot of mistakes during that time. So I only drank for a year or two before quitting because I realized how toxic it was. Even when I wasn't drunk, it takes weeks for alcohol to leave your system. Your mind is still cloudy and you still make wrong choices even when you're sober because it's still in you. So yeah, I quit alcohol, and then that same year, a few months later, I tried my first edible. Because now that I consumed drugs and realized they weren't like the worst, I then was open to other substances. But I was still very cautious because I've seen like friends and family just kind of abusing different things growing up, and I didn't want to hurt my body. I wanted to experiment, but in a safe way. So yeah, I tried my first edible, and then MDMA after that, and then LSD, and then mushrooms. That was kind of my progression. And I've tried other things since, but nothing too harmful. Mostly just psychedelic related. And yeah, you guys know my story after that. I've posted everything. I've been very open about my life after the point where I tried psychedelics. I kept the fact that I did weed and alcohol, I'd kept all of that a secret for a year because I was kind of ashamed. I didn't want anyone to know that I was doing these things, going against everything that I believed in. I was surrounded by Mormons. Like, it wasn't, I had normal friends too, but it was mostly like Mormons in my life. Since I've stopped attending, there's none of them around. It's funny how that works. At age 19, that's when I started this YouTube channel. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Luckily, I got so bored that I ended up starting this. And if I hadn't, what would I be doing right now? I have no idea. But I'm just so glad that I followed this path instead of the missionary path, because I know that I would be a very different person. I would have had to shave my head also. There's just a lot. There's a lot to it. Here's some other things that LDS members believe in, is that you shouldn't have tattoos. Male shouldn't have any piercings. Female should only have one piercing. You shouldn't have beards. Males can't grow their hair long. These are all things that were conflicting with me growing up, because I had long hair growing up. I didn't have any tattoos or piercings, but got to age 20, 21, I started getting tattoos. Reason for that is because this is just a flesh vessel that we don't get to keep when we die. So all this ink, it's just drawn onto me for now. When I leave, I don't get to keep it. So why does it matter? And that's something I've always been confused by. And I believe there's a lot of strength in hair. The army, for example, they shave everyone's heads because there's a lot of power in your hair. When you lose it all, you kind of lose your identity. You look the same as everyone else. Easily manipulated after you have your head shaved. And that worries me, because religion and the army shouldn't have that in common. So now let's get on to what I believe in now. So now that I've left the church, well, I've stopped attending. I haven't like quit. I still follow a lot of the commandments, a lot of the rules, because it just helps me keep me on a kind of a good, positive, safe path in life. It stops me from doing stupid things, for the most part. I mean, I'm doing my best. It gives me some guidance. So that's kind of the best thing that I've kept from it all. Obviously, you guys have never heard me swear, because I don't. I just don't swear in my normal life. I think that helps keep my vocabulary positive. Like, I can still get angry, but I don't let any words slip out. I try to be as good of a person as I can. I try not to hurt people. LDS are very kind. They're very generous. If someone is in need, whether they're a member or they're not, they will come and help. So I know that if I ever get really stuck in life, or if I'm homeless or something, I know that I can contact the church and ask for help, because that's what they like to do. My perspective of Mormonism is only from the British side. I've never attended in America. I know in America it's a lot more intense, because that's where it originated. There's a lot more members there. But from my perspective, Mormons are very nice. They're very good people because they have these rules that they live by. The only thing that I do that kind of conflicts with Mormonism is that I do drugs, obviously. I do psychedelics. And there's nothing in the scriptures that specify that you can't do these things. They don't mention weed, LSD, mushrooms. They don't mention psychedelics at all. And I think that they once did, but in history, a lot of these religious scripts, they are doctored, they are edited. These religious books, we know from history that certain people will edit them. They'll take pages away, they will change the words. When these things are translated, they get changed. Catholicism is a good example. They have the archives that they've got loads of like religious papers just hidden back there, and we have no idea what's in them. So what do I believe in right now? I believe that, what do I believe in God? That's what everyone wants to know. Yeah, I think so. Because someone had to create this. We didn't just appear here. But that could also mean that this is all simulated, and that we are just kind of plugged into VR. But then what created us wherever we are? It's very it's complicated to think about. Something created this. Like there is a source. But then what created the source? Like what created God? Does God have a mother? It's like, it gets so deep. I believe that all humans are just one consciousness. We are all the same. We are all one. And psychedelics kind of reaffirm that we are all one. We are all one consciousness. I am you experiencing it in a different way. Definitely someone is pulling the strings. I believe that we all have free will. I don't think that everything is predetermined. Either that or we have the illusion of free will. Either way, I don't mind, because I feel like I have the free will. But I do believe that I'm plugged into this somewhere. Somewhere, whoever I came from before, I got so bored in that place that I put on the VR headset and agreed to come in here for like 150 years, and that's what I'm doing. I'm living out this VR experience. So I believe that Mormons should be allowed to do psychedelics. I believe that any active Mormon out there that's watching this, I believe that psychedelics are allowed. I know that they go against the law of the land, but a lot of the laws of the land we can disagree with, because slavery was legal once. Like, laws change. And laws only favour the ones at the top. They make them up. So if you want to disagree with them, you can disagree with them. I believe that we should just stick by, like, don't murder, don't rape, don't steal. I believe those three are good to live by. And just be a good person. Don't kill animals. So that's something that frustrates me about the church, is that it agrees with murdering animals. Like, a lot of the members, especially the American ones, they eat a lot of meat. And I was brought up eating meat. And I wish that religion stepped in and said, hey, maybe we shouldn't murder animals. Maybe that would make our minds a bit more clear. Since I've started eating plants, I realised that I am a plant. I'm connected to all of this. I feel a lot more clear-headed, a lot healthier all the time. When I was eating meat, I was very clouded in my mind. Okay, so I asked you guys on my second channel yesterday to leave me some comments about Mormonism, ask me some questions, and I'll answer them, because I have so much to say about this topic, but I just can't think of it all right now. Which is frustrating, because I've been wanting to film this for so long. Dylan asks, how has your family reacted to you no longer attending Mormonism stuff? As I understand, they are very banishing kind of people when people leave and don't associate. So when I stopped attending, obviously they were very encouraging that I should keep going, but I was an adult, so they couldn't really force me to, and I moved out, so they had no control over it. I don't believe they're very banishing. There's millions of members, so I'm sure there are people out there that really would banish their family members, but I've never seen that myself, and my family would never do that. They're very accepting of everyone. I believe when my mother got pregnant out of wedlock, her parents weren't very happy, so that's made her more loving and caring about people that don't follow the rules 100%. So she's very accepting. She's a great one. When I came out about drugs, obviously that was tough for them, because I'd been the very straight edge, clean son for so many years. And then I became an adult and decided to experiment. I've made many videos about psychedelics and the benefits and the negatives. I've talked about all these things. And they've watched all those videos. And since then, they kind of understand it more. So at first, they were very upset about it. But now they've done research into psilocybin and its links to treating depression, because that's what I've used it for. There are so many scientific studies that agree with what I'm saying, because I'm telling the truth about these things. And then my mum sends me articles all the time about mushrooms, and it's like, yeah, I know, that's what I've been talking about. So yeah, it's taken a few years, but I can now be very open about it. I can talk to them about these experiences. Neither of them really have much experience with drugs. I don't think my mum's ever done anything. My dad probably did when he wasn't in the church, but oh, he used to be a smoker, but he quit like 50 years ago. Oriel asks, how connected is your family to Mormonism? Does it affect your relationship with them? And what is the Mormon opinion on alternative lifestyles? It doesn't affect it whatsoever. They can go to church, they can do their thing. At the moment, because of lockdown, they haven't been to church for months. All the churches across the whole world are shut. So it's been strange. They've been doing lessons like at home and doing their own sacrament at home. Things are different now just because of lockdown. It's very strange. But no, it doesn't affect my relationship with them whatsoever. Like, I've spent many years going to church. I understand it all. Well, I understand as much as I could learn in 18 years. I've read all the books. There's a butterfly sitting on Jasper's back and he doesn't know. I've made a career out of this alternative lifestyle. So my mum, well, and my dad, they're fine with it. Like, they see that I'm still very spiritual, but I'm not religious. And I want to get into the kind of things that I disagree with in a second, but I'm going to continue answering these questions. And Wavy says, I live in Utah, the capital of Mormonism, and it's all I've grown up with my whole life. What I've experienced growing up is that Mormons are very judgmental of anything that church doesn't teach. I was judged for my long hair and now my tattoos. And I understand that they're teaching good morals, part of the LDS church, but the ego part is ridiculous. Yeah. It's probably very different for Americans. I feel like the American side of Mormonism is way more egotistical. The British side, not so much, or from what I have witnessed. Yeah, they teach good morals, but then when somebody does something wrong, they're like, they disagree with it heavily. But that's the thing about religion. It's a form of brainwashing. They're conditioning you to believe in a certain way, to not differ from that path. And the thing about religion is that every religion says it's the true religion, and you just have to feel with your heart and believe it, whichever one you think is true. Liz asks, are you able to have multiple wives? No. That was a thing maybe at the very beginning, in the like 1800s, whenever it started, 1800s I think. That was a thing at the very start, and no, that's not a thing anymore. Like I said at the beginning, the goal is to have people married in the temple, and that's two people together. Oh yeah, also they're very anti-gay. That's one thing. I don't think they'll allow gay people to get married. Do you have 1 million siblings? Yes, there's 9 of us I think, potentially 10, but I don't know. I have 5 sisters and 3 brothers. Yeah, pretty big, but my dad had a few kids, my mum had a few kids, and then they got married and had more. So it's not just a Mormon thing. I guess my parents just like having a bunch of children. When it comes to religion, the things that I disagree with is that in the LDS church, you donate 10% of your earnings every week. That helps pay for the churches. No one takes a salary, except for the very, very top, but no one else takes a salary. It helps to maintain the buildings and the temples, which are very expensive, and a lot of it is donated. So they help food banks and they give a lot of money away. They help a lot of people outside of the church. So I believe that all the money goes to a good cause, but it also means that the church is a business. And that's kind of what I've realized in later years, is that it's a company, it's a business, like it's a business model. You send these boys off all across the world to recruit people to then take 10% of their earnings. Like, just other things that I disagree with is that their stance on kind of psychedelics. They should be more open to psychedelics, and I believe that when psychedelics become legal eventually, which they will, especially in this lifetime, we're going through the second psychedelic revolution right now, but it's more quiet than the first one because we're doing it the correct way. We're opening the conversation up and allowing people the chance to educate themselves without repercussions. Like, the internet is a very good thing. So I believe that when these things become legal, I think that members are allowed to take them and they'll be more open to taking them. But the thing about psychedelics is that they make your belief systems crumble. They kind of tear your beliefs and throw them in the wind. I think most religions will probably remain anti-psychedelic forever, because people will realize that they don't have to believe in one system. They don't need to have one belief system. They can agree with many things and live their own way. They don't have to follow a set of rules to be a good person and believe that they're going to heaven. In the LDS church, this is quite complicated. I don't know the terms anymore, but there is a heaven, but there's 3 degrees of heaven. So there's levels to it, and there's obviously a hell. The levels are complicated. I don't understand how you get to the very, very top, but you have to do a lot of stuff in the temple, a lot of very cryptic and kind of cultish kind of stuff. I'm not going to get into that because I've never witnessed it for myself. I've seen videos of it, but it's stuff that I don't understand. Like, only my parents have done it, and I never got to that point in the religion to kind of do that stuff. The only times that I've been to the temple is when I was quite young, and I would do baptisms for the dead. So I would be baptized on behalf of people that never joined. They had died and never were able to join. And it's usually family members of Mormons. It's not usually just strangers. So Mormons love to do their family history. They'll go really far back, and anyone that wasn't baptized, they will have them baptized. So that was kind of what I did when I was younger. Did quite a lot of it. I did some in Germany, did some in the UK. But I was never allowed upstairs in the temple. That's where all the kind of cultish stuff happens. Stuff that I don't understand and stuff I don't want to talk about. I just did the basement level stuff. Yeah, I believe that people should take things from all kinds of religions and make that their belief system. They shouldn't just follow one thing. And I don't think that you have to attend church every week to be a good person. I believe that you can still follow whatever kind of beliefs you want, and you can do any kind of studying that you want, but you don't have to go to a certain place and do it there. And that's kind of what I've been living by. I hope that this video has made sense so far. If you have any more questions about it, I'll happily answer them in the comments, or if there's a lot of questions that I didn't get into in this video, I can do a part 2 on my second channel or something like that. Yeah, that's what I believe in right now, so I don't attend. I've never left. I try and just be a good person. I think that's all we have to do at the end of the day. Like, we're only on this planet for a very short time. We should spend that time making this place better forever, because it would just be more enjoyable, right? Like, why waste our time doing anything else? That's what I hope to achieve with these videos that I'm doing, especially the ones on the second channel right now. I want to make it feel like you guys are here with me and experiencing kind of the love that I have for everyone. I want everyone to understand that I just want us to all have a good time on this earth, because we're not here for very long. We're really not here for long. We're just kind of a blink in history. These trees have been here longer than I have. I want everyone that watches these videos to feel compelled to do something with their lives. Don't just sit around. Don't just consume. Create. When you create things, you get a joy that you can't get anywhere else. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're a painter, if you're a writer, if you're a musician, like, it doesn't matter. Just make something. Even if you don't want to make something, just do something good for somebody else every day, and you'll feel way better as a person. I hope to make a daily video on my second channel forever. I'm going to continue for as long as I can. If I'm off grid, obviously I'll have to miss a few days, but when I'm not off grid, I want to make it my goal to post every day, because that's my good deed for the day. I want to continue doing that. If you haven't checked out the second channel yet, click the link on the screen right here. You can subscribe here, and then here are just 2 videos that I made on the second channel that I think you might like. Whew! We did it. We did the Mormonism video. Any members out there that want to leave some comments? Any ex-members out there that want to leave some comments? I'm happy to talk about this stuff. Like, I'm not trying to hide away from my history, my past. Yeah, let's talk. Okay, cool. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. See you guys next time.